We're now on item D, discussion of possible action to approve or deny the preliminary plat for Harrah Point. Saw the engineer here a second ago.
Yeah. Kendall, you're ready.
Yep. I can't see you. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Caitlin Turner, 522 Colcord Drive, here on behalf of the applicant. Also here with me is Kendall Dillon, who's the civil engineer on the project. So this preliminary plat has been pushed out due to the sewer capacity issues. It's before you now. It was heard at Planning Commission and was approved there. The project is on 333 homes. There was an engineering report done. Some revisions to the preliminary plat were made, and since then, that report has been cleared. Regarding detention, there was also a drainage study that was done. There are numerous detention ponds accounted for on the preliminary plat to mitigate any potential runoff. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have.
I do have a question. You're saying all these questions were answered and
Correct.
by the engineer.
Correct.
I just had a problem with how this plat, what it says on those questions. It says storm sewer that crosses lots 24 and 28 of block 5. There's no 24 and 28 in block 5.
That is, I believe if we drop down, that goes into the River Mist Edition, is that right?
I believe so.
And that-
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
that
that is
drops
correct.
over to, their line runs into the River Mist Edition.
I know, but there's no lots 24 through 28 block 5. I don't know that it means anything, but I just could not follow where that storm sewer was. The other one was crosses lots 10 and 12, block 15. And they said that needs to be located in an easement. Well, I can't find where there's no 10 and 12 in block 15.
Can you answer those
11
questions,
and
Kendall?
12 in block 15.
He's got a big map for you.
Yeah, and
do.
it may be
Here we
that maybe that my eyes just
Yeah,
didn't work.
well, and I'll have to look, like I say, those were comments that actually preceded even
Yes,
like going
they-
to the
yes.
planning commission. So,
Yes.
so even the lot and the block numbering, I think, may
Might
have
have
changed. So
changed.
that may be the thing that's
Okay.
confusing, but, if you look, we have storms, and you'd have to read the lot and block again for me to follow it. But we
Yeah,
do have-
this one said lots 24 through 28 of block 5.
Block
And block
Yeah,
5,
that's these,
yeah, it doesn't have that many
right.
lots.
Right, so this is block 5, at least there. So we have, this is actually block 10 down here. The detention pond breaks it to block 5. So we got detention here and here. There was, like I say, we got these storm sewers that you see. The original preliminary plat, we failed to put the easement, but that was the correction that we made prior to the planning commission.
Yeah, and then so
And-
maybe some of these numbers have changed.
That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
think we changed the ponds a little bit as well. And so I think the lot numbering and the block numbering, I think, changed before it went to planning commission also. So the change would have been after or in response to the corrections that they wanted. So I don't know, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
they
hard.
never- They never say that it was actually corrected, they just say.
Oh,
they
it
have no-
was.
I know,
Yeah,
but I mean,
Sure.
yeah, but they don't say specifically that now it crosses in the right place or whatever.
right.
So, then we had, 10 and 12 of block 15.
That's what he's on there for.
Here's block 15. 10 and 12,
Yeah, there is no 10 and 12.
right. Well, I mean, yeah, there's no 10 and 12 of block 15.
Right. So
So
that's where I had my
Right.
confusion, because I was going back through everything since I was not on the planning commission. I was looking at everything on there. And then the last one was lots 1 and 3 of block 20, same thing, but that one is actually okay.
Yeah.
It's in there on that
Right,
one.
and that is lot 3, and the one in block 15 is actually lot 3 and 4. It's that storm sewer, and so you can see those
Yeah,
easements, so.
I could locate the storm sewers on it.
Right.
I'm sitting there on these
The
lots.
block- the
I
lot
don't know
blocks
what
doesn't matter.
happened or what
Right.
changed, but thank you
Mhm.
for
timeframe when y'all's planning on starting, actually moving dirt and things?
Pending the vote tonight, I've been authorized to go ahead and design the first phase. So, you know, it would take us, you know, probably 3 or 4 weeks or something, probably to get everything together, make the submittal. And then, you know, truthfully, from the time you start design till you're probably building the houses, at least a year.
So you're connecting the river mist, is that
The
correct?
sewer does,
The
yes.
sewer is.
Mhm.
Our engineer looked at that.
Yeah, and that's why, part of the reason, and a lot of the reason why that lift station on Harrah Road is being upgraded as well, and that's in process of being done now.
Yeah, they,
So it's all free flow?
That's all right.
Yes, it's all free flow down to, Harrah Road where the lift station is being installed. Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve or deny the preliminary plat for Harrah?
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Harrah County. I'll second that motion.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Stankowski,
Yes.
Kozowski,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item E, discussion possible action to approve requests from the KO Storage on appeal on building construction and appearance standards on 2504 South Harrah Road at the recommendation of the planning commission. This is the storage building down by Dollar General on Harrah Road. The same company just purchased the one across from Sonic on 23rd Street, and we just approved that. What they're doing is they're bricking the backside of the building and doing some other things where the other, rest of it remains metal, but it's matches their rest of their facade.
The one on Harrah Road?
The rest, yeah, the same people that did, they're doing the one on, it's the
Yeah.
same concept down on,
No, those buildings are all in the back.
And that's what,
And
Matt is
so-
not here, but he
And
wants to
so
say that.
they are not visible from the road, so they are building just like they're building.
okay, I'm sorry.
Just
you're
like
right,
they
building
exist.
construction, yeah,
Had they had one on the frontage, then it would have had to meet this requirement, but this one, they're only building in the back, they're adding new units in the back. And so, planning commission said, okay, and it's just all metal.
Yeah, it's-
They said if you drive by it and you look back right at a specific point, you can see the new ones in the back, but they all look the same, they're building nothing on the front.
So do we have a motion to approve or deny?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Stankowski,
Yes.
Kozowski, Trent,
Yes.
motion carries.
Item F is, discussion possible action on ordinance 2023-3 addresses parking place circulation dimension standard with the recommendation of the planning commission. Jeff, you probably know as much about this as anybody. What this is, it's just actually clarifying the parking place space, minimum width and minimum depth that we can do. And in between the aisles is what it is. 9 feet is the minimum width and 18 feet is the minimum length that we can do. I think before we didn't have any standards at all, if I remember that correctly. And so we're just trying to put some standards in that you wind up with some areas between, if you look at the diagram, you got the 18 feet and then you got 24 feet between the two cars where you back out and get into another one or an alleyway or a driveway more or less. And that's trying to leave enough room that cars can get in and out of the parking lots. So we're just actually amending that section is what we're doing on Part 12.
And it's a little different for
Angled parking.
herringbone.
Herringbone, angled,
Versus.
yes, yeah, it's all,
So in the herringbone, there can be less and it's one way, but
yes,
even in that, there's some two-way.
yes.
And we still allow 20 feet on the angled parking.
Yeah, don't take as much to back out of it.
Right, and it's 24 feet if it's a straight out.
And one way, you can even drop down to
Yeah,
12.
it's 12 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so. And this don't affect any of the existing parking lot, this is just new construction. All this.
Right. Yep, did we pick up this as a standard from somewhere? Is it a standard?
Jim, you don't know that, Jeff?
I was gone after
You're gone
we
after.
approved it.
Okay,
We looked at several.
Gary picked it up from some other city, is what he.
Yeah.
I think you got a couple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Guy-
I'm sure it's a standard, I just wanted to make sure it's a standard, just like the next one that we're going to, so,
9 feet, I think, is what for common.
yeah.
9 feet, 8.6 is some cities, and it's
Yeah.
really tight, but at 9 foot is a little more comfortable to get in and out of. So we have a motion to approve or deny. Ordinance 2023-30.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance, which one is it?
2023-3.
2023-3.
A second it.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Guzekowski,
Yes.
Pankowski,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item G, discussion possible action to adopt ordinance 2023-04, providing additional landscaping requirements for parking lots with 30 or more spaces at the recommendation of the
Wait a
planning
minute.
commission.
There was another part to that one, wasn't there? Or 2023, hang on just a second.
And staff report.
The staff report combined the two.
Okay, the staff report, where the stacking. So do we need to cover, let me just look at it. I apologize for all you people want to get out of here quick, but
No, you don't.
let me just look real quick.
I did not print off the staff report on that one.
2023, and, the stacking requirements.
-3, he's
Oh,
going
I
back.
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I got right there. It's the staff report.
Yeah, you're right, it is, that is just landscaping. The problem I have with it is in this layout in the staff report, or actually in the ordinance itself, it addresses stacking. And so did we just approve the ordinance?
Yes.
Because if we did, then we just approved stacking without discussing stacking. Because that is,
So currently, McDonald's doesn't meet stacking requirements.
right.
But anything that's there,
But Chick-fil-A would never meet stacking requirements in the city of Harrah. Even with this, they wouldn't meet it. Stacking is how your cars are lined up in these restaurants as you go
Well,
through.
Chick-fil-A might meet it,
Yeah.
6 cars.
But, I mean, I don't have an issue with this. This was one of the places where I said, did we actually have, is there a standard
That's what he
for
grabbed.
this? And if Guy did it, I'm sure he grabbed the standard, and Gary grabbed the standard, so I'm okay with it the way it is.
okay.
So we can move on, but we approved stacking
Stacking.
as
Through the
well
drivers,
as,
yes.
yes, okay, before we move to the
Yep.
beautifying
Yes.
our parking spots.
Back to, item G. And item G is, they're looking at, for areas that have 30 or more parking places, to have 5% more of the lot to be landscaped. And that could be trees or whatever we need to do. There must be 1 tree for every 10 parking places, and no parking places 100 feet of landscaped area or more. So,
So I can't be farther than 100 feet from a tree. Parking. I mean, I gotta get this end of the tree, there can be no more than 100 feet between these landscape areas. And they have to have a sprinkler system in them. So you tell me if I have 30 spaces, new construction, I'm gonna have to put a sprinkler system in for all those islands that are out there. And my trees I can only have 100 feet between trees or landscaped areas. And I have to have that, as I look at that, I'm going, are we really talking 5% of a parking lot with 30 cars in it? 30 or more, it seems a bunch. And I'll go to the park. Is it 39 spaces that are gonna be down in the bottom?
That's what they say, yes.
39 spaces in the bottom, that has to meet this requirement. They say, well, there's trees all the way around. I wanna know if they got a sprinkler system in there. Because if they have to have a sprinkler system in there according to this, so.
Yeah, I don't agree with this, with some of this, by no means. I mean, because you go to the larger, I mean, go down to Harps, a lot of Harps wouldn't meet that. I mean, I know they're grandfathered in.
Yeah, they're grandfathered in.
But they still wouldn't meet it
But
today.
the whole point is, do you want harps? Do you want that in your city? That's the point of what this was all
I
about.
think they're trying to get like, you know, like a Midwest city, where you have the road there, you have
Yes.
trees, and then you have another set of trees on the front.
To some extent,
But they're
the
more
way
than
this is,
100 feet apart.
but the way this is read, you go to Target, you go to any of those Lowe's, they don't,
Well, they're not,
there's 300 foot
Yeah,
between the
that's what
trees.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
and 400 foot.
I
You know.
just question the 100 feet.
Sure, and that's,
yeah, I agree.
you know.
I question 100 feet because when I do go to Midwest City, I think it's nice when you drive through by Chick-fil-A, not through it, by Chick-fil-A,
You challenge
going down the
yourself
rest,
there.
there's lots of trees and stuff like that. But from that point to the store, I don't have trees every 100 feet going into the store, nor do I have irrigation going to those. I may have irrigation on the other piece, I don't know. So I was just questioning the 100 feet and irrigation and really the 30 being the minimum. 'Cause that's not a very big parking lot.
So, as an example, and again, I was exiting as we were starting to talk about this. The point was, we got like along Harrah Road there's gonna be a quarter mile of, right, basically a little less than a quarter mile of commercial front. If we didn't have anything in there specifying, it'd be just a solid piece of asphalt parking lot. Now, the point was, of the planning commission, I'm not gonna speak for them right now, but at the time was to elevate us beyond some of these strip malls, the way they look. That was one of the points. Now, specifically, we hadn't talked about numbers at the time, but, you know, we could get one of the, either Gary or somebody to come in and talk to us about it if we want to talk, you know.
I think we do because, you know, I mean, I just go to a lot of strip malls that I build in, I mean, they do have trees around them, but they don't have them, I mean, they may be out in their detention, right at the edge of their detention or something, they may be at the edges of it. They've learned just over time, put these trees and islands in the middle of the parking lot to create more havoc than it does, you know, with a tree in it, you know, because it starts hampering their visibility getting in and out of the parking lot and different things like that, so. I'm not opposed to trees around buildings by no means, and the landscaping, and I think we need to look at the ordinance just a little bit closer to make sure
No, I
where you
actually,
put them.
I actually want the landscaping in there, it's the distance.
Yes,
When you look at Choctaw, those people run over all them plants on that island going into that place. You know, the big trucks come in and they run right over.
The radiuses were not
Yeah,
defined.
the radius
That was the
is-
problem,
but-
that's the problem with the
but
law.
then,
But Midwest City doesn't seem to have that problem with theirs. Their radiuses were probably a little more defined. And I do think we need it, and I want it,
I agree with you.
because I really don't want the strip mall with just all concrete.
I think, again, talking to them, or maybe having them come and talk to us about it, but the point of the whole thing was to elevate us above and beyond what we're currently dealing with.
So why don't we just table this and look at that here next meeting, and not, we'll see if we can get hold of Gary, see what he comes up with, and not, also maybe look at, some other city standards, what they have on their landscape for commercial buildings.
Yeah.
So what, item G, we're just gonna table that tonight. Item H, discussion of possible action to adopt ordinance 2023 amending the code 12 of section 12:21:2, fees amending section 12:215 zoning district of the plan, recommendation of the planning.
Is this just adding, getting them separate from the actual ordinance so that they're not actually in the ordinance? It just references the fee? Is that what this one does?
You know, I wasn't at the last planning meeting, and so I can't answer
This was
this.
back a couple of meetings ago, and they left out the new RE zoning for,
Right,
Residential estate.
yeah.
right. That, they did get that in there.
Right.
I just,
So they're amending that to put all that in to the previous.
but I think the fees were in there before, kind of like in the ordinance, and now we've moved the fees to the side. It references here that you go to those fees.
We tried to make all of our ordinances, instead of putting the fee in the ordinance, referring to the fee schedule, so
Right.
that can be adopted all in one
Yeah,
block.
that's what it is here.
Definition,
Yeah. And that, so we
So we don't-
changed that out and we added the residential estate districts.
And do we know what the fees are for all this?
Well, we have a separate thing with
Fee
all the
schedule.
fees. We have a fee schedule, it's been
It's on
approved.
the fee schedule.
Yeah. And so it references payment of the fee based upon the current city fee schedule, so that we don't have to change an ordinance every time a fee changes. Yeah. It's a good thing.
We try to do that every time we encounter an ordinance that we're working on. Instead of putting a specific fee in it, we refer it to the fee schedule, so you all can look at all of them as a group.
And all we're amending is that new addition, the residential estate district is what that is.
And that there's no fee schedule in this
And there's no
ordinance.
fee schedule.
That you go to the city's fee schedule.
So do we have a motion to approve ordinance 2023-5?
And I make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-5 with the spelling correction. We have a second.
We got seconds, yeah.
We have a second, yeah.
Swaziland,
Yes?
Brzezowski, Pankowski,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item I, discussion of possible action to adopt ordinance 2023-7, amending part 9 of chapter 1 of the peddlers and solicitors, adding section 9:111, entitling food trucks licensed to change their renewal date to July 1 through June 30th of each year.
This, only part of this amendment is just changing the dates that the license apply to, make it match up with our other license, and it matches the fiscal year, so that it doesn't renew in the middle of the year.
That's the only thing this changes?
That's the only thing you changed, was the dates that apply.
Okay, then can I, this is the food truck thing?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The definition, it says in here, application for license, for this food trucks, license required, and then on D, it says, low point beer, alcoholic beverages are to be sold, you know, you need this license whether they are or not. And then when we go back to F, it says food truck defined, and it says no alcoholic beverages. So are we,
The food truck license itself does not entitle you to alcohol. You'd have to make a separate application for a license if you wanted to sell,
okay,
There.
so then D, where it says whether low point beer or alcoholic beverages are to be sold, covers that?
Well, that, it comes under a separate license, but they could not sell it at all unless they get a separate license. The food truck itself doesn't authorize it,
Okay.
food truck license.
I just need clarification. So the application for license, it has all these requirements, whether or not you're gonna sell beer or not. But our definition of a food truck says they won't have alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, but that's not addressed in the ordinance before you tonight. It's only the dates are addressed in this ordinance.
Okay. So this confusion should be eliminated at some other time?
It would be a different.
Different one.
Yeah.
That low alcohol must be strict too.
Yeah, because there is no Low Point beer anymore. We learned that tonight.
So do we have a motion on amending, part 9 of chapter 1 of the pest management?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the date change.
I'll second it. Rudick. Pinkowski.
Yes.
Guzekowski. Scalzo.
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I'm gonna jump down to R right now and, appoint a new member to the Harrah Planning Commission. And I think, Daniel Lay is who we've been looking at, step in, and he's agreed to doing that. So do we have a motion to approve Daniel Lay as our,
I'll make that motion that we approve Dan Lay to the planning commission.
I'll second it. Scalzo.
Yes.
Pinkowski. Yes. Guzekowski.
Yes.
Rudick.
Yes.
Trent.
yes.
Motion carried.
Dan's here tonight. We appreciate you showing up and welcome to our planning. The park board, I'm gonna table that to the next meeting. Let me jump over here to the public works side real quick. We're going to item C, discussion possible action to approve the water and sewer atlas by Myers not to exceed $10,000. What that is, he is in process of redoing all of our sewer line mapping, is what that is. And that is something that Jerry's asked to have done. And he said it comes out of his budget, is what it comes out
So,
of.
does that include Harrah Road?
It's all the mapping of all the lines.
Does that include Harrah
It
Road?
should include Harrah Road. It's all of our lines.
Jerry here?
Jerry's not here.
Harrah Road's a mess. When they brought those plans out, they were terrible. And he'll admit that they're terrible. So my point is this, if we're gonna replace it, why are we gonna spend money to fix those
Well,
plans?
we're actually, more of the downtown area, a lot of the older maps that's not up to date. They're going through
That's
that
fine.
and all the maps.
I'm just saying, does that include Harrah Road?
Well, Harrah Road is gonna
If
be,
it's part of the scope of work, I'd have it stricken if we're gonna replace that line and get correct drawings when it's put in.
the new line will go pretty much in the same place as the old one.
I know, but it shows risers, the risers are not there.
Sure. And that's one thing they're not, they won't show any of that on this outlet, because they won't know. They
The
won't know where.
manhole
that-
covers are not marked, they're not
Now,
marked.
manholes, they'll show manholes, they'll show, the lines, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I want it correct, why waste the money on that when we're gonna put a whole new line in and they can redo it, do it right? It better be closer than 3 years.
No, it's probably not too far out. It'd be 2 years by the time Harrah Road's in.
Just my point, they're terrible, that is for sure.
But this is something that just updates all of our sewer lines where they're at.
I do have a question on the pricing, the $9,100 to $10,400, and they propose not to exceed 10,000. Couldn't I just say, well, we propose that you not exceed 9,100? That's your low ball figure.
And I say we can do that, and if we accept it, we'll move forward.
That's the trick. I mean, how many of them are gonna come in at $9,100? Okay, I'm done.
Do we have a motion?
I agree, you wanna make it 91, I agree 9,100.
Is that your motion?
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the Myers Engineering Water and Sewer Atlas updates not to exceed $9,100.
Okay. And I'll discuss with you, make sure it's all done properly. Do we have a second? I'll second that.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Pankowski,
Yes.
Wazowski,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
And that's a question, I know it's already passed, was that gonna come in on CAD?
I'm sure it will. Yeah, he'll send it over. At least he's.
Not gonna be on pencil
No,
paper
no,
like
no,
Harrah
he'll,
Road?
we'll at least get a PDF of it, no doubt.
Okay.
So, yes, but he should get a CAD of it. Item L, discussion possible action to approve invoice for Busty Pump and Supply for the replacement of the pump. We had a pump go out on one of our wells, and, I saw the invoice, and I didn't, if I remember, that invoice was about $14,000, is that right?
18,025.55.
Thank you. I just got a glance at it, and I don't, it says $18,000, and
We
that's,
didn't get a copy of that.
no, we didn't get a copy of it. I saw that the other day up here, and Gary didn't get a copy. But we had a pump go down, and it's replacing the whole pump. Have they done that yet, or?
No, this is for 40 horse, and if it's 20 horsepower, it'd be a little less, 50 horsepower, it'd be a little more.
Right.
But this is for 29th well, it's pretty important.
And they won't know, that's the max it's gonna cost is $18,000. That's the worst case scenario, because like you said, if it's a smaller pump, it'll be less money.
He didn't imagine it being 50.
No, and then it could be, they even said it could be a wiring problem down the hole, it could be anything. They won't know till they pull it. So, so we've got a bid, and that will come out of the, public works budget is what that'll come out of. So, we have a motion to move forward on the replacement. If needed.
Make a motion to move forward.
No second.
I'll second.
Wazowski,
Yes.
Pankowski,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Scalzo, Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, I'm gonna open up.
And, sorry,
Oh, yeah, that's good, okay, thank you. Discussion possible action to approve the tax list for surplus from the Harrah Public Works Department. We got a list of ton of items that they are surplusing. I didn't see the laydown machine on that. I guess y'all didn't put that on there.
As far as I know, no.
We'll talk about that here
Yeah.
a little bit later. 'Cause
I
it's
think he
got-
was gonna talk with you about that.
Okay, so I think it's about time it goes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the surplus items from the Harrah Public Works.
I just wanna know if everything works on there. I might wanna buy something, you know.
They got a load of surplus.
It'd be without warranty, I can assure you.
Yeah.
So is all this stuff,
That-
surplus is over at the.
Yeah, it's over at the Public Works building.
We haven't made a motion, so how do we sell it in that surplus? We just go over there and buy it, or is it go?
No,
Yeah.
there's a
went
There's
online.
online auction, city auction that we place it on, and we've had pretty good luck out of it.
You'll group a bunch of these, or put them all as individuals?
That's up to staff, how they sell it.
We'll, Jerry and I'll have to discuss how we're gonna do that.
But the website, the government website that we've been selling stuff on, has brought us pretty good money out of
Really
everything
great,
so far.
and easy to do.
So do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the attached items as surplus.
Do I have a second?
Pankowski,
Yes.
Rudick, Wazowski, Scalzo,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
Now I'm gonna open up items J through Q. Discussion possible action on street repairs on Hampton, Park, Barnes, Beal, Oak Ridge, Cabin, Capella, and Red Duck. We can open that up for discussion. I'll actually, allow the public to say anything they like. I think Daniel McClurg had something he'd like to say, and I'll let him address us.
I will, do my best to keep this as brief as possible, okay? So I just wanna throw a couple of these out here. You guys are looking, you can start a fire with them, I don't care. So just a kind of a brief, kind of an overview. Have a look at this, okay? So my name's Daniel McClure. I live on Oak Ridge Drive, north of 23rd. I'm blessed to have a great set of neighbors in the overflow section in the back here, okay? So, we come out today to talk about this road a little bit. Starting looking on the front page of this, these pictures start off on the south and it moves to the north. The road starts off about 14 foot wide. It ends up about 7 foot wide in some areas. Today, a foot hole, I don't know, pretty deep, fell out on its own, and the city had to come out and put a cone over it. So this road is just crumbling to pieces. At the end of the block, one of the neighbors don't even have any road left in front of his house. The poor trash driver does a fantastic job of working with what he's got to work with. He comes down the road to empty the trash, and he was leaving. I went out there with my tape measure. I measured the road. So if we've got a 7 foot road, and we have a dump truck that's 8 to 9 foot wide, you can do the math. You can see this road's going to keep crumbling as this truck goes up and down the road. It's just in a horrific condition. I've been there for 9 years. I built a new house. We've had 3 beautiful homes built there since then, with 2 more coming. So we want to talk about what the plan is on the road. Mayor Trent talked about the infrastructure, bringing new businesses in here, and I can understand that. We can also look at if somebody ever comes in with those new businesses and drives down our road, they can see these brand new houses with just crumbling infrastructure. Knowing that, realizing there's only a certain size pot of kitty to get that done, we want to be reasonable too, but we want to see where the plan is. If you look on the back pages, you see some trucks that were there 2 or 3 days ago. They come down and do some work on one of the neighbors' houses. And you see the only way they can park is to pull in front of somebody's house. So we just want to come in front of you. I've talked to Steve a little bit, and I just want to see what the plan is to make the repairs on this road. And we need to get it as close to 14 foot all the way down so we can get in and out of this road, because half of it down is just in horrific. It's all bad, but the last half is in terrible shape.
Well, I appreciate you coming, and I'll answer a lot of questions, and you can call City Hall, and anybody will give you my number. You're welcome to call me and tell me about any road in Harrah that we got. Oak Ridge is one of them that is on our list to hopefully vote on tonight to do some repair work to, and actually to do a 2-inch overlay on. There is not a road in Harrah that I cannot drive down other than maybe Manic and Tim Holt, the section of it right now that's in pretty good shape. I have drove the roads numerous times. Tim's been with me a couple of those times. I've had Jerry with me a couple of those times. I've had Jamie with me. We have drove these roads. I have drove every city road that I can pretty much tell you where, probably as much as the public works guys, where they're all at, you know. There's names of some roads I didn't even realize what was the name of it was. And so, but I have drove these roads, and they are in dire need of repair. So, but I will tell you, last year was the first year that we budgeted $250,000, which is not any money for road repair, to repair roads. We got a list of roads that we're gonna vote on tonight and see if we can come up with spending that money this year. Next year, we're hoping to budget $500,000. We really, at this point in the game of our roads, we ought to be budgeting close to $1 million a year. We don't have it yet, you know, but that goes back to time. We are now putting it in place to start budgeting for roads. And hopefully we'll have more and more roads to repair. I drove these roads, and the roads that I'm looking at right now are some of the ones that are in some of the worst shape, that we don't have to rebuild the whole road. There's some of these roads that we gotta rebuild the whole road as, we don't have a choice. We're gonna tear them out, redo them, and do it right. That we get into $500, $600, $700, $800, even $1 million of some of the housing additions. I've got a list that I've gone around and printed off a spreadsheet that all the council members would have one time or another. I'll be glad to share that with anybody. So there's not a road in town that does not need repair. Hopefully we can continue to patch holes and that. But Oak Ridge is on that list of redoing. It will be, that road right there is about 1,510 feet long. It's 13 feet wide in some spaces and 18 in others. We will keep it at that width. We cannot go and continue to widen that out.
Well, I looked at TJ Campbell, and what did you say your end was, like 7 feet?
Yes.
TJ Campbell, the one we had some trouble with.
Yes.
they're 14 foot all the way down at that end, so they would make that 14 foot is what it looks like to me.
There's some additional gravel there too.
Yeah, and I think they went in and measured better this
Yes, I
time
think so.
on what used to be, asphalt versus what's asphalt there now. What looks like gravel on the side of your road probably was asphalt.
And on this particular bid though, if we look at the bid, where Haskell's 52.3,
Right.
Campbell is 53.8, but they also have an $8,800 mobilization fee. Now,
Right.
if they did every one of these roads on here, they're only gonna charge us $8,800 to move in, and you could divide that up into whatever job it is. But if they just did Oak Ridge, they're adding $8,800 in, so, as we talked about all these roads, and I mean, I kinda came up with the list, we can't do them all, because, my opinion, and this is mine, and I had tried to get this out to y'all last Friday, that y'all had the weekend to go look at everything and drive some of these roads, but if we redid Cabin Road, and this is all with Haskell Lemon at this time, because they had the best prices, Haskell Lemon for Cabin Road was $60,884. Park Street is the street that runs in front of the school that tees off of,
Lions Park.
Lions, runs into Lions Park is what it does.
Road.
That street right there was $29,153. Hampton was $56,244. And Oak Ridge was $52,303. And then I also looked at if we crack seal Redbud for $29,425 and crack seal Capella for $18,875, we would spend at that time $246,884 is what we'd spend. That leaves Bill and Navarre questionable, is what we do. And I mean, but if we start driving all these roads, and I'll just say this again and again, Bill and Navarre is ones that need it. Ranchwood is another addition that is in terrible condition down at the bottom, especially in the point of being overlaid. Cambria is probably one of the worst subdivisions, roads that we have at this time, but that road totally needs to be rebuilt and redone 100%. There's not a street I can't name. You go to Gillespie Mobile Home Park there by Rockies, that whole road at least needs to be chipped and sealed, if nothing else. Maple Street, where it tees off and goes into 27th Street, Bobby Macon Lane, goodness, go through Echo Valley. I mean, there's areas all through that addition that needs done. Tim Holt's got some other areas that need to be redone. 2nd Street, I mean, I cannot stop and just name one street that we could say, hey, this is the street that needs all of our attention, because they all need our attention.
If you look at just these 6 streets that you listed here, Oak Ridge and Cabin Road would be the ones, my first choices.
And those are the two.
They're pretty rough. You said Haskell Lemon had the best prices
On
on those, because they didn't do the,
they had their mobilization added into
yeah,
their
but
cost
they didn't
already.
do the crack seal of these
No.
other two neighborhoods.
No, they don't
So-
do that.
You drop one street, and I know, people are gonna say, well, I don't know, I don't wanna drop Park, you drop Park Street, I can do every one of them, all the other streets, if I drop Park. Now,
No.
that Park is,
But then you can't do the crack sealing and stuff either, is that, if you drop park, is that correct?
well, under Haskell Lemon, if your limit is $250,000, is that the limit?
That's what we budget.
That's the budget, so if I look at 6 of those and I start dropping some numbers out, and I've done it on each of them, dropping out a different street each time. I even dropped out Oak Ridge to see what else we could do, and say, but again, this is a start, because you budgeted 250,000 this year. Even if we missed one of these, can it be in next year's?
That's what I'm hoping we get better.
Right.
We got some other major streets in Harrison,
Yes.
running from 10th Street all the way down to Echo Valley. A lot of that needs to be rebuilt. Part of it can be built, and I've met with Bill Myers on that as well. Ranchwood is, once again, once these streets get over $100,000, we have to let them for competitive bidding.
Right.
And then we got engineers. These streets are all under $100,000. Each one of them are separate projects. so we can actually piecemeal that out legally this direction.
Is Park Street from Harrison to Lions Park, or is it from Hampton to
It's,
Lions
it's,
Park?
we're going from Harrison all the way down to the parking lot of Lions Park and widen it out,
But not into the parking?
not into the parking lot, just down,
Just right there?
just
and widen
down
it.
to the parking lot.
Which makes sense because of all the cars that go in there, now that we weed them all through there.
The
and
school
we-
traffic.
We had to put stuff through there. I realize that would be a good one.
And I understand that you say if we just drop one of the,
Right, I mean,
but then we don't, then you gotta take the crack ceiling out of the two other ones.
I can't fit the crack ceiling in anywhere and get 250,000 unless I drop streets.
Well, like
I
the two,
drop 2 or 3 streets, then I can have the crack ceiling,
and that's what I dropped, Bill and Navarre,
okay?
I dropped.
You're dropping $80,000, $85,000.
Yeah, I'm dropping Bill and Navarre to do, and this is my math, and that's why we're gonna, you do Cabin, you do Hampton and Park, Oak Ridge, and then you crack seal Red Bud and Capella. And that number comes up to $246,884.80. And that's about as close as I can get to 250 without going over.
And I'm good with that, but when you're gonna go with paving with one company and crack seal with another.
Yes, because Haskell Lemon does not do, they don't do it.
They don't do it.
They don't do it.
And then there's different types of the crack sealing,
And-
that.
Yes, Campbell, okay, and
So
I'll,
which one of those are you talking about doing
okay,
the?
Campbell came in, and their price is quite a bit higher. They came in and said, okay, what we're gonna do on them cracks, because they're, when they get over 2 inches wide, they're gonna come in and they're gonna cut a foot out, and they're gonna put 6 inches of concrete in and be done. Haskell Lemon came back and says they've done this numerous of times and had very good luck out of it. They come in with their milling machine, and they mill out 14 to 18 inches wide of millings, recompact it back in, and overlay it with 2 inches of asphalt, and it's had great luck out of it, is what they've told us.
And they're quite a bit cheaper.
And they're quite, but they're using, claiming their material that they're using, putting it back in, and moving forward. These roads, the reason I chose these roads, because those roads right now with the cracks in them, if we continue to neglect those roads, the cracks are gonna get worse, and then, and with all the rain we just got, there's moisture getting under there, and it starts destroying the base.
Oh, they start sinking.
They start sinking, and so that's, and believe me, I've spent hours looking at roads and trying to figure out what the best scenario is, and what the, are there
We
some?
came up with a list last September for all those people who don't think.
I'm
they
trying to
looked
check
at it
some of them
last
out.
September,
And there's even more you could add to
and
this.
more. Oh, there's more that you can add, but there's only 250, so
Yeah.
I was also trying to figure out which ones we could drop, which ones we could add.
But y'all,
to get it.
definitely, I mean, if we don't need to do this crack sealing right now, do we just do one of the,
The crack seal helps you,
That does
it preserves the road,
it preserves the road.
Keeps
so
it
that you
from
don't have to
trying
do this
Leave that full grass down.
stuff that we were gonna do.
But if we
The
eliminate,
Oak Ridge.
if we eliminate the crack seals, we're only gaining Bueller of R1.
Yeah, you're only gaining one.
This way, we're gaining 2,
Right.
so.
And then the reason I like Beal and Navarre is it seems like you're attempting to finish the Tim Hope, that area down there. But if we continue to budget, which we should, if we continue to budget at least the 250,000, if we can squeeze that in budget, then we can move to those and the other
They
streets.
would be at the top of the list next
That-
time.
Well, they could be.
That's what we're hoping. I mean,
Yeah.
we won't swear to that, because, I mean.
Unless something comes up worse or washes out, or.
Well, that's.
Well, and also, I mean, next year, I mean, I've asked to put $500,000 in for roads. I don't know if we can do that. I mean, we're probably gonna cut a lot out of the park board and different.
Oh, don't say that.
Not too many here.
But, I don't know if we can get 500,000, honestly. I mean, that's a lot of money.
If we could jump it up a little bit.
That's why, if we go 300,000, I mean, I agree, but I'm shooting for the moon, don't get me wrong, but we got 2 roads in Ranchwood and what other one did I say that Lincoln was in? Ranchwood was definitely one of them, and and Harrison. Those two roads right there are two roads that are gonna be $150,000 each to redo. So that's gonna spend our budget next year.
Yeah,
You
everything with
gotta
all
look
that,
at Echo
Yeah,
Valley.
now-
yeah, all that school traffic, all that
Yeah.
soccer traffic in there.
Let me back, you know, we could do Bill and Navarre right now as well. I mean, but we'd have to take the money from where? Where do we get another $84,000? Do we take it from our ARPA funds and put it to roads? Or do we leave that sitting aside for a better rainy day project and let's get this, if we don't spend this money this year, before June 30th, have it allocated where it's going, we lose this money, and we don't get to just carry it
Right.
on. So that's the reason I'm trying to get this done, that we get it underway. But the other two, we can come back at a later time and say, okay, let's take it from the ARPA funds, or let's maybe get into some other avenues of looking where we can get the money, you know?
So looking at, don't wanna take anything away from Oak Ridge, but looking at Oak Ridge, in my opinion, we're gonna spend 50,000
$52,300.
on a 2-inch overlay that the road's already, it looks like it's deteriorated to where it won't hold it.
Go right ahead.
I live at 2517 Oak Ridge Drive, and I will tell you right now, at this point, my driveway, my approach sits lower than the road itself going down. So any rain or anything like that drops down to my drive, my approach and everything, is actually causing my approach and my culvert to sink and crack my driveway. So a 2-inch overlay would just only increase that potential of causing more damage to my driveway and having to drive down to my driveway.
The thing that we're gonna run into if we go in and mill down Oak Ridge, and mill it down 2 inches, we're gonna be through the subgrade all together, and then you're gonna be back to rebuilding that whole road. We're not gonna even have any hope with it at that point, and then
We
that
don't
cost
have that
goes
kind of money.
astronomical, so.
And I understand that,
So, I
but
mean-
I also don't wanna do something that's gonna potentially damage my property further.
Bar ditches keeping clean, I mean, it will do wonders. If you keep your bar ditches and drainage working out of them, because the thing of it is you do, whenever you have no curb and gutter, you have bar ditches, and that is the owner's responsibility to keep the bar ditches clean.
And that's one of the things is down the line, the drainage is an issue, and that was another topic of discussion is with approaches and everything, you have to get an approval from the board to redo them and stuff.
And very easily, I can take this one off and redo Bill and the bar, they won't gripe a bit about putting a 2-inch overlay on. I mean, if that's what you want, I mean, I don't have a problem taking that off.
I don't understand that, and I'm not trying to say not to do my road and stuff, but also you have to look at, if you're doing something,
We're doing it to the best ability of the money that we have to spend.
Let me ask this, on his, and I've looked at a couple of driveways down your street, if they do that, just like what happened on Manic, where they didn't taper down into those driveways, it was just a drop off. You know, I get your problem, but if they can.
We talked about tapering them into every
Into the
driveway.
driveways, does that
Yes,
happen?
one,
I mean, the water's still gonna come.
yes, but my approach is at the road itself right now and has 2 sinkholes and that have been patched multiple times.
I know, but they would now taper that down into your driveway.
And most of them are that way. We have approaches that all come to the road, but, you know, how do we fix the road? Now, you talked about the other idea about the eating the road up, putting it back down, another way to do it. We just,
Yeah,
if
but
we don't have a
that's
plan-
whole different
That's not
price.
happening.
right, I understand it. But I'm just saying, if we don't have a plan to do it, then a lot of neighbors here, we wanna know, when will we have the plan? What will the plan be? We don't wanna walk away and say,
Well, we do have
Hands
a
up.
plan,
sounds like you do.
but the plan, he doesn't like that plan.
Well, he's got some drainage, right? He has some
Right.
drainage,
Yeah.
right? So, if your culverts were cleared out, and a ditch was dug there, would that take care of some of yours?
My question on top of that is, you say that it's the owner's responsibility for the culverts and drainage and everything like that.
I didn't
But
say
in
that.
doing the approach, if I have to redo my approach of it, I have to get an approval, and then I have to get approval, city permit and everything to do that, because that's what it is.
Well, we're
There's
I mean,
an easement.
on all of these drives, we are tapering the asphalt into their drive, that it's not just a 2-inch drop off. So we are tapering that in there, and that is something that we did negotiate in these deals when we did them, because we did Manning Street and didn't get that, and now that's what we're doing. So,
Okay.
Yeah, you got some, looking in your pictures here, that just have a 3 or 4 inch pipe running through them, there ain't no 12
No,
inch
no,
pipe.
you're exactly right. Most people we could do those once they get that cleared out, fix that. Biggest problem is the road and the no road and the road crumbling away.
Yeah.
And pictures, can't get trucks down the road, so we gotta come up with something. And roads, we just had a sinkhole today, who knows how bad that's gonna be? It's worse, the poor guy at the end of the street and the traffic man have no road to get on. So this is a terrible problem. If we get the major part, get the road fixed, and then work on the other stuff, do
Jerry,
the best we can.
let me ask you this question real quick on,
Yes, I think you're right.
you know how bad Manic was when we redid it?
Oh, yeah.
And Oak Ridge compared to Manic Manic was a lot worse, am I correct?
It's
Or about
probably
equal?
Today, we just went, the sinkhole's about this deep.
Okay.
And it's a gopher hole that came from the side, and it's basically just washed.
Dropped
So
it.
we're gonna have to cut that out, put some gravel in there pretty quick
Sure.
before it gets worse.
And that was due to gophers in the rain. isn't it?
Yeah, and that's gonna be another problem with what's his name, Jordan?
Yes.
He's gonna have to look at that, push some away and not do
Okay.
like we had on Manic.
If
And
they,
Jordan ain't gonna be the one doing this job, though, I can tell you.
Okay.
so if they do that overlay the 2 inch, they do taper that down in there, those sides of the road, are we gonna be able to put that, like we did on Manic, put that gravel there?
If we need, yeah, well,
That way it would taper down into each yard, so it's not a drop off into their yard?
we have millings there, but part of that would need to be dirt, because the difference of Manning versus this road's gonna be 18 feet wide mostly, so that's gonna take care of a lot of that problem. We still will have a 2-inch drop off there at that point.
Yeah, this one's gonna go 18 to 14.
Yes,
It's not gonna go to 7, you'd still have the 14 there.
And it's
But-
1,510
And I'm not
feet.
assuming that when the contractor looked at it, just like when we look at Manic, where they missed,
Yes,
here they saw, no one's gonna put, I don't believe, 2 inches of asphalt above something that won't hold it. So there's gotta be something there off your edges that we can't see just driving down it.
Yeah, there is gravel under the grass, you can't see, but there is gravel where a road was at one time,
Right.
at one time.
Okay,
That's important. So,
yeah.
You can take a shovel and clean out, and you can see.
Yeah, and some of the bids were that way. The bids were where, we would clean that out, blow that out, get down to the right thing before they lay the asphalt
and
down.
we don't find people to do that much anymore. I mean,
That asphalt doesn't look like about an inch thick, right?
well, that's why, if you start milling it and you start getting into that,
I mean, that's why we didn't mill
Tim Holt.
Tim Holt.
We got into that, we milled 20 feet and went through the pavement and we awarded it.
How long do you think that'll last?
I mean, we'll get 10 years. And I say that, I mean,
You'll get more than 10,
well, yes, we'll get more,
cause it'll start going bad again, and then, we'll
They
start over.
will feel them as they go.
Yeah,
So, I mean, like I said, we can, I knew this was gonna be a hard item right here, because, I mean, we can cut any road and do Bill in the bar, or 2 roads, or crack seal. We can do anything anybody wants. I just tried to look at how we was most utilizing our money. And like I said, if we did Cabin, Park, Hampton, Oak Ridge, Redbud, and Capella crack seal, that's $246,884.80. I can't get much closer to
you
250,000.
can't, and I don't believe that all of you are opposed to that.
Oh, here's most of the neighbors right here. Right here's most of them.
Okay,
There's 12 houses currently on our street, and there's representation of at least half of them.
Probably will never get that here again, that many neighbors.
And I'm not opposed to actually saying.
Yeah,
no
you're
to
just
our road
saying
being
what
done,
you
but I was
want.
voicing a concern about.
My honest God truth, and I'll say this, so don't take, if we could go in and Bomag every road up
Yes.
and restabilize the soil and redo these roads, I'm 100% for it.
Yes.
The problem is you would turn a $50,000 project into 175,000 to 200,000 on that one road.
Yes, I understand that.
And so we're looking at the best fix for the money at the time, you know.
Yes, I understand that. I just wanted to voice concern about
Yes,
that, which you addressed with that they have a tanker in that, so that's.
We're doing the best we can.
Yes.
I promise you that, you know, so,
Stuff on the side, that would help too.
you know, we're wanting, we want every road to be redone in Harrah, don't get me wrong. You know, I mean, I don't think there's one of us that's not for that, so.
That's probably wrong.
Not just these.
That's not just seats. I
No,
mean,
no,
these.
no, no, I'm,
This wasn't, this road was not chip seal, right, at the beginning?
It looks like it was.
It could be.
Could have been? Okay. But it would still be enough of a base for the 2 inches, no problem, if you don't mill it. And they seal and put the sticky stuff
Yes,
on it
they-
or whatever it
yes.
is.
They tack oil it.
They tack it.
I mean, right now, how's Manny holding up?
That's good.
Good.
That's good.
And I look at the same scenario.
Yeah.
And even Tim Holton, look at Holden. Look at Holden was terrible.
Holden was very bad, and so was Manny.
Are you gonna vote on that tonight?
Yeah, we're gonna vote something, one way or another.
Thank you, thank
We're
you.
gonna vote yes, no, or scrap them all, we're gonna do something.
If we get a no, somebody please get back to me on a win. If we do a no, please get back to me on a win.
Well,
And thank you guys for your time.
If you wait here about 5 minutes, you're gonna figure out.
I'll be camped out in the back with the overflow. Thank you.
Anybody else from the public got anything to say? Between us council
I
members
noticed,
now.
I noticed the tonnage is a lot different on a lot of them.
There are a little bit of difference.
Some of them are.
I think Campbell tried to cover themselves a little better this
Last
time.
time, that's what
Last time.
they're the highest.
They're the highest for that.
The-
So y'all, I mean, so what's your opinion of the roads? Which ones?
Well, I definitely, Cabin and Oak Ridge are the worst of the bunch here.
Okay.
Now, I agree with all of these, I mean,
This one.
Okay.
the Cabin and Oak Ridge are the worst.
Okay, we gotta take too long. And I mean,
my opinion is me, I would say, cause I tried to prioritize, cause I was driving.
Right.
And to me, I'm thinking probably, at first I thought Park Street, where is it? But I know where it's at, once I drove it, I know the situation in that area. I'm saying deal in the bar, but that's just my opinion.
we was asking just which streets do you think we need to take off? There's 2 of them, whatever, actually, there could be 3 if you did all the crack seal, there'd have to be a street as well. So, I mean, I gave my suggestion that we take Bill and the bar off for this time, hopefully do it next year. But what's your,
Yeah, they don't come off the list.
they don't come, nothing's coming off the list, I mean.
We just met
It's
the
moved.
funding limit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, can we have Navarre, there are some holes, can we have the?
Well,
Let's still do that.
I'm hoping that we,
Well, I'm just saying, can we do that for now? I mean,
what I'm,
Navarre,
the
there are
next-
some pretty bad spots there.
what I'm hoping to is get with Levi here next week, or before the next meeting, and see if we can actually reach out and have either our crews or a crew, from Aim High County, Haskell Lemon, to go around and spend a couple of days just patching holes. I know it's gonna be more than the $3,000 we got left in the budget, but, you know, if it's another 10 or 12, maybe we can find where to come with the money and have a company go, because, I mean, goodness gracious, you can go through Echo Valley, you got places on First Street, you got places on Second, Navarre, Tim Holt, Bill, there's
And
not places.
There's a little street off the end street that I didn't even know had a name, and it's called John Drive.
Yeah.
It's as bad as, Oak Ridge and Cabot. I thought it would take me to the basement part.
Right.
And I mean, it took me 10 minutes to get down and back up, so.
Some of those streets are tough.
Yeah.
And so,
I would ask the question, how far does Cabin Road go? I mean, I know how far it goes.
Did y'all measure out
Goes it
the-
in?
1,200 feet.
it's
Huh?
1,200 feet.
Yeah, Cabin Road is about 1,200 feet. The entrance on it is about,
No, but I wanna know, does it end at the Leday's house, the old Leday's house, which is Volpe's?
right before that brick house,
It,
Well,
right?
it ends at the second,
That's the second
The second
driveway.
driveway, the circle drive. That's
Oh,
what it is.
that's the old day.
That's the old day.
Right, it ends right there, cause that new house that's way in the back.
No,
I
that's a
won't go
private.
past that.
That's a private
That's
road
private.
part.
Yeah.
So all you're doing is going, Volpe owns that now, that's, you're just going to Frank's.
And Haskell Lemon did that whole road 20 feet wide.
Yes,
The whole road is 20 feet wide.
right.
Somebody
And
got it
it's
at
got some
22
big,
feet, but it's only 20 when
Yeah,
I dug up the dirt myself.
TJ said
You wanted
20
to
on
go
that
over?
one. I think he's looking for tonnage.
You better make that.
He's trying to make up, yeah. But it is 20 feet wide. So do we have a motion on which roads to approve?
Well, that, I don't know what everybody else thinks.
Are we gonna do them individually, or are we gonna?
We'll probably need to do them individually, it's probably what we do, but if we know what to do, we can go through it fairly quick.
So if we take out Bill and the bar, we're doing the rest of the roads plus the crack and the seal with red bud and Capella?
Yes, sir.
Do them all in one motion if you package it.
yeah.
Okay, but they are
that's the way
all
I'm thinking.
independent jobs, though.
Yeah, we're just approving each one independently in one motion.
Okay. Okay, so we can do that. Okay, so.
So are we gonna approve the contractor at the same time, or?
Yes, we'll approve the contractor, which the contractor on,
You know, Mayor, let me back up a minute, maybe minute-wise, so that we don't have a question raised later whether we're bid splitting, that vote on them one at a time.
I'm gonna do-
Each one is a separate project.
okay, we'll do that. Okay, then we'll start with item J, discussion of possible action.
I have one more question on these three contractors.
Yes, sir.
We have experience with TJ Campbell, and we know, what happened there. I'm not saying it isn't good, because the roads, but the width, we got shortchanged on the one. So everybody is doing the same overlay.
Yes, 2-inch overlay, yes. Everyone's doing the
I
same.
don't think everybody shows exactly the same width.
No, they do not. I agree with that.
'Cause
But
I
I-
need to have the same, where he said it goes down to 7 feet. They are at least keeping that one at 14 feet all the way in the back. So, but it's at a 2-inch overlay.
Yeah, my question is on that, they gonna clean that off, or are they gonna lay
Yes,
that?
Yeah,
they
that's
have in there.
They
that
go in there and lay that
can-
asphalt on top of that Bermuda grass, and
No,
that's worthless.
they gotta clean it out. They actually say
Well,
that.
and Haskell Lemon is a very reputable company
Yeah.
as well. I mean, they're not just, they're very
They're
reputable.
not fly-by-nighters.
No. But, and I mean, that, you know,
No, none of the others, but I mean,
But I-
that kind
but-
of higher recommended.
they're not, but I mean, I thought TJ Campbell would have done this just as well as the job as well.
Yeah.
Nope. Just not enough to.
Yeah, move in.
Move in.
Yeah.
That throws them out of there.
That throws them out of the, really, out of the, all,
I do, let me ask this then, just real quick. If I go to Oak Ridge, and I'll just use that because we're talking about, it's peel edges back and blow off the street to prepare for asphalt. So peel edges back was all that stuff with the Bermuda and the gravel there?
yes.
Okay. I get the same almost with TJ Campbell, but in Haskell Lemon, they don't say that anywhere. So how do I know they're gonna do that same exact thing? Although they have the right widths in there, I get that. I don't have this peel back. I mean, we can ensure that that's what they're gonna do, right? Or will they change their bid price?
No, I will, if we approve it, I will go back with Jerry and we will confirm that's what they're doing.
Right.
Peeling back
Yes.
and if not, then we'll come back next meeting and re-vote on it.
Okay.
Is that fair
I'm
enough?
okay with that.
Okay, so let's move forward with the votes. And we'll just go down there, and when we, like on item, on item J,
You could skip and leave out the ones you think you're not gonna do,
right,
and then come back with ones you think you're not gonna do.
well, I think I do Hampton and Park together, because they kind of run together, and it's still under the bid, so if we do items J and K, Hampton and Park, do we have a motion to approve, and who, and what
Wait,
amounts?
you got the wrong J and K for me. Is that on a different one?
Well,
Works.
Yeah.
Public
when I
Works.
was-
J&K on the city council.
On the city
City
council, I was
council.
at the Harrah Public Works, I'm thinking this is roads, so I'm on the Harrah Public Works.
Well, we can go back if you wanna go D and E.
No, I'm good.
It's-
I'm good.
So J and K, do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve, street repairs on Hampton and Park
For Haskell Women.
for Haskell Lane.
I'll second.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Kozowski,
Yes.
Pinkowski,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
We're gonna go to items L and M, Navarre and Bill. Do we have a motion to do that at some other time? Or we can just, actually, I can just table that.
Table
Let's
those
table
two.
them. I'm gonna table those two. Okay. Item N, discussion, Oak Ridge, do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve street repairs on Oak Ridge with Haskell Lane.
I'll second it.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Pinkowski,
Yes.
Kozowski,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion carried.
We have a motion to approve cabin.
I'll make a motion, we approve street repairs on Cabin Road with Haskell Lane.
Second.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Pinkowski,
Yes.
Kozowski,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion.
And do we have I'm gonna do items P and Q at the same time, the crack seal, Redbud and Capella.
We'll make the motion to do the street repairs, crack seal on Redbud and Capella with Aim High.
And is that the, which one? That was
That's the
one-
asphalt.
That's
one
the
where
asphalt
they
right
take
now.
out the
Do
asphalt.
I have a second?
Second.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Rudick,
Yes.
Pinkowski,
Yes.
Kozowski,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
motion.
So Oak Ridge, it'd just be a matter of time, of us getting contracts signed and confirming a couple of things. If something falls through, we'll try to reach back for you, but just on this behalf, by the time we get contracts signed and get all that, we're probably looking at a minimum of 30 days to do anything.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you. Good.
Cover everything in executive session.
I think we're down to executive session, and, but I will go through, and ask for some comments real quick before we do anything else, but, once again, I wanna congratulate Steve on his, on what he did, because it is a milestone, but also, I wanna thank Marty, and actually Jeff, because, last Friday, RJ Long, the guy that got shot over, Oscar Rose, the church on 15th and Harrah Road did not have any plan for the funeral, and there was probably a couple hundred people show up to that funeral, and there was no anything for parking. Jeff brought that to me, and we got with Marty last Friday for the funeral on Saturday, and they handled that very well. Thanks to Jeff and thanks to Marty for doing that and jumping in. I just want to tell y'all thank you for that. And then I'm gonna go around the corner, and I'm gonna start with Steve today. You got any comments, Mr. Steve?
I have none.
It's gotta be one of the two we gotta say. I gotta go somewhere, so let's move forward real quick. Jeff, you got any?
Yeah. I want to make up for Steve.
That's what you got.
Basically, two items. The first one is directed towards the city attorney. And it's, do you, believe or have you seen any violation of the Open Meeting Standards or Act
Never.
in this council?
It is my responsibility to point it out if I see it.
And that was my other
Yes.
question.
And I've been a city attorney for 43 years in various, and there's never once been a successful challenge to Open Meeting Act in one of my council meetings. And it's my goal to make sure that record remains intact.
Well, somebody said it
And
was
if it-
against the law for us to have this 4 o'clock.
It's a special meeting. Could have had the special
But we
meeting
didn't,
at midnight
we
if you
didn't
wanted.
cancel the other one, so.
No, you don't have to.
Okay, thank you.
Second question is, regarding the, park plan.
Did you get that today?
I did,
Okay.
I did. For discussion, maybe our next meeting, taking some action on, possibly putting that out to the public in the park on a billboard type scenario where people could look at it, possibly putting some QR codes on there for comments or whatever survey activity.
That is really our next step that we need to go to. I mean, we got that here a couple weeks ago, and I got it sent out to everybody, or had Cindy get it sent to everybody. Just not only did we send it to all the council members, but the planning commission and all the park board. Hopefully here in the next week, we can go and get that uploaded on our website, and people can start looking at it. And yes, we need to come up with some way how to publicize it and get community commenting on it. That is exactly right.
As a follow-up question to that, do we have any idea of projected cost on that?
No, there is no project, all that is a design.
Okay.
That's all that is. Because what has happened past 20 years on that is people's gone in and said, let's put the tennis courts there, or basketball courts, and that's where they wind up. You know, I'm not saying that's not the best place, but so we're looking at now, this is where the market in the park is gonna be, or this is where we're gonna have the splash pad expansion, you know, I mean, or we're gonna add a tennis court or something. We've kinda got plans, or where we're gonna put the stage. So, you know, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, we're gonna build a stage down there.
There's no stage on that plan.
There is, there is, if it's down at the north end, there is.
What's it
It's not
called?
called stage.
What's it called, yeah.
It was
It's
not
a
called the stage.
Well, it's not.
No, I thought he said stage. I know he did.
It's stage, but he calls it a, what the heck's he call it?
He called the storage area behind it and then something.
Yes.
Covered
because-
pavilion.
Covered pavilion, that's what we call it.
That's what he, that's what he's labeled.
Well, I called it a stage there.
I don't think.
Well,
that's- I
maybe
don't
that
think
needs to be
that's a stage.
clarified, 'cause
I don't think it's a
pavilion
stage, because in the original plan, there was a stage in another spot.
Yeah, it was on the east side there.
And now they have the big grassy area that says for concerts, there's no stage in there. And for
Well,
other
the
things,
covered pavilion
there's
is,
no stage in there.
We'll make sure that we're,
yes,
Yes, but this is south of that covered pavilion, where they have that green
yes, that's the
area for concerts and stuff like that, so. And the other thing, when they put it on there, on the website,
I was gonna say, Jeff.
when they put it on, you're the one that asked the question, when they put that on there, it needs to be able to open up into the big.
Okay, we're gonna put this on for another meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, okay.
All I want is you're gonna put it on the website.
Yeah, you said, that's like your two questions? I'm just.
Yeah, thanks.
Tim, you have anything?
just that, I know I've sent Levi some stuff to look at for some grants. He's helped me look at, to see if they would be feasible for us to even apply for them. And, some of them look pretty, I mean, they look good. I mean, the initial look at it, so he's looking at some of those and giving some input on it, and we'll see what we can do.
Sorry, you have anything? Bob?
Just to go back to your first question, there have been occasions in the past where we get in the middle of a meeting and figure out that the agenda was not properly worded to what we wanted to cover, and we passed on that agenda and we put it on the next meeting. Also, Cindy and I will try to work closely together to be sure that we've got the correct wording on what we really want to discuss on agenda items, so we can avoid any problems. And there've been a couple of times in the years past, we had to bump meetings to a different day because there wasn't enough time in order to avoid a problem. But we work really diligently to try to be sure we don't have a problem.
I'm gonna ask our city manager / fire chief, you got anything you'd like to add?
No, just echo what Tim said, I've received those grant emails that he sent, and I'm looking over those, and I'll see what I'll do after proceeding with that.
Marty, do you have anything?
Yes, sir.
Jerry, your department head, I guess, tonight back there, you have?
No, we're good.
You got, any other city employee? I will take a few public comments, and I think,
I just wanted to know if you're gonna come back and discuss, you after the executive meeting.
discuss me.
You.
You, the letter U.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah, well, we'll discuss what we can, is all I can answer at this time until we go in there and what is decided, and if it can be talked about, we will. If not, then we'll.
I'm not asking for, I mean, you're gonna
Yeah,
discuss
if
what
we
the.
take an action or
Yeah, it depends on if
something,
we're.
then we'll come out and
Yeah.
take the action.
And there may be no action.
Or there may be no
No,
action.
that's fine, that was my question.
But yes, we will come out and vote on something on yes. You had something?
I guess. As y'all know, I'm new at this whole city council thing, so I don't know how it works. Oh, yeah, but, last time the fire department was here, this time, many of them are here again. I saw some things online about how poorly our fire department is being paid. Is there a way, an avenue for the people of Harrah to have any input on them being paid more proportionally to the rest of the
Well,
state?
let me answer this real quick, okay? And I'm gonna simplify it. Don't believe everything you read on Facebook. That's number one, start where you need to begin. Number two is, our firemen, we voted on a contract last July by one of the previous council members up here, made the motion and seconded, as a contract was presented to the council, and the firemen agreed to this contract because they presented it to us. That was last year's contract. This year's contract at this time, we have not even seen. We don't know if they're asking for $1 or $10 an hour more. Until we see that contract, we can't vote on it. There's nothing to comment. There's nothing to do. This council has not done anything. So that really does frustrate me about people that go on Facebook and read this garbage is what it is. And they continue to put it out there. But the honest to God truth is, these firemen and everybody else that commented on it was in the wrong. And I'll say that point blank, they was in the wrong, because if you don't know the facts, don't comment on it, would be my best.
July 2nd of last year, 2022, that council member that has made a lot of noise about this is the one that said, make a motion to approve that, and then that motion carried unanimously, and the fire department got what they negotiated and wanted at that time. That's different than now. I'm not gonna tell you that they, what their pay is, or if it's underpaid or overpaid. I'm just waiting for the contract to come, but what was said was completely different. If a person thinks they're low paid, I get it. I'm okay with them, not gonna dispute them on those things, but that's for the contract to settle.
And as I started my statement, I don't know how this works. I was asking a question.
Yeah.
I'm very well educated, and I don't need to be condescending.
Was
being
I
treated-
condescending?
No, sir, you were not.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
But I asked a question, and I'm not an idiot that goes on Facebook and gets my information.
Yeah.
I read a post. I was asking how it all worked so that I could educate myself with that knowledge, and do not feel like I deserved to be assaulted in the manner that I was. So, to me, I was disrespected, and Mr. Trent, I don't believe I deserve that.
I apologize.
Secondly-
If you take that long, so, okay, does anybody else have any other questions? We're gonna move to the next item.
I was just gonna let you know that farmer's market opens up this weekend, 9 to 12. It's a new season, so come on out and support it.
And that's Saturday, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna move on to item T, executive session discussion under request, statute 25-307 pertaining to discussion acting of the city manager, interim or permanent city manager, and also item U, executive session discussion and action under provisions 25-307B4 pertaining to litigation, harassment, cyberbullying of a city employee. Do I have a motion to go into executive session under items T and U?
I make that motion to go to executive session under items T and U.
I'll second it.
Rudick,
Yes.
Pankowski,
Yes.
Rosowski,
Yes.
Scalzo,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Well,